If you're trying to make any kind of meaningful, effective change in your life, you've come to the right place. Good day, ladies and gents. Welcome back to another episode. It is time to talk shift. And I think today we're going to talk a little bit about greed. Actually, I'm going to talk a lot about greed. Specifically, when greed is good. I know there are people out there probably wincing right now going, ooh, I don't know about that, but just bear with me. And hey, let's get my lovely show producer, Christy, in on this. Christy, are you with me?
Hey, Lori, I sure am, and I'm happy to be. So, hello.
Yay. Happy New Year.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you too. I gotta say, it's been a little hard to get back into the swing of life, right? But that's why I'm really glad to sit down with you today and hear what you have in store for us for our 2021.
Yeah, tell me about it. It after holiday season, even though, as we talked about before, there's a lot we can do to not get too far off track and too far off our routine. It's you still do, and I'll tell you what, I have been feeling like I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. I'm like, don't I have some sort of a profession or a career I should be like, screwing my head into? It's been a little bit of a chore trying to get back in the groove. And actually, my husband and I are still in Florida right now. We're not even back to our home in Wyoming. So I'm staying in an Airbnb, and look at the lovely kitchen behind me.
Beautifully decorated, I have to say.
I know. I could really I could cook some really mean meals in that kitchen. But anyway, I am excited though to be getting back in the saddle, because I am a person that is all about rituals and routine. I love my rituals. I love my routines. It just keeps me living at the standard I like to live. And so when you're out of it for a while, it just seems like, getting the train moving again. And it just takes a while to pick up momentum and pick up speed and get back to where you were. But I think that everybody is ready for hopefully a fresh new outlook on things. We may not get a lot of changes this year. There's that old mindset where people are like, oh, I can't wait to get this for 2020 to be behind me. I can't wait for the new year. Nothing wrong with that, except we probably should manage our expectations. I'm not sure how much different the coming year is going to be when it comes to outer circumstances. So we got to just, we got to go there in our own minds. We got to shift our mindset. And maybe if you didn't have a great 2021 or 2020, as a lot of people didn't, if circumstances don't change, look at the mindset, change your mindset. There's other things that we can focus on to get through the coming year, hopefully less painfully than the past year was.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So let's dive in. I'd like to kick off this controversial subject of greed by talking actually for a moment about sloths. Do you know what a sloth is?
I'm picturing like a kind of cute cartoon animal that I've seen in like DreamWorks movies.
Right. It's a real animal though. And I know this is very curious, but just like hang in there with me to the end. And I promise I'll tie this up in a neat little bow at the end of the show. So, okay. Sloths are a very slow moving mammal. They spend the majority of their lives hanging upside down in the tropical trees of Central and South America. That's pretty much what they do. That's pretty much the lifestyle. They just kind of hang around.
I don't hate it. Sounds like what I've been doing for the last few weeks.
So, right. I think we all probably feel a little slothy lately. So the word sloth is actually translated from the Latin term acedia, which means without any care. Now, when you hear a person being referred to as a sloth, the inference is that they are disinclined to work, maybe a little lazy, and possibly complacent. But so as not to leave everyone with a kind of condescending attitude about sloths, there is a delightful spiritual meaning related to these molasses paste creatures as well. A sloth totem, well, it's a totem animal actually. So I don't know a lot about totem animals, but I checked this out and it says a sloth totem animal is a good-hearted spirit with a particularly harmonious approach to life, which makes sense since they just kind of hang around without a care in the world in the tropical forests of Central and South America. But they teach us, or the totem animal, that's a sloth, teaches us to value all things that we have in life. And it gives peaceful and supportive guidance through the challenges. You're welcome, Candace Parisi. Yes, she is my dear friend, and I know that her favorite animal is a sloth. So I wanted to make sure and throw in the upside of slothiness. So on to the subject of greed. Again, this will come back around to this later. Okay, here is the famous, it's an excerpt from the famous speech given by Gordon Gekko in that movie who was played by Michael Douglas in the movie Wall Street in 1987. I don't know, if you remember seeing that, or you might have been too young. She's like, no, she didn't want to say it, but yeah, Chrissy's too young. Chrissy was probably, were you even born? You probably weren't even born yet. Oh my God. Okay, moving on. She's so sweet. She's not even saying anything.
I had a recent birthday, so that's a kind of a sore subject for me right now, Loree.
Oh, I don't even want to hear it, girl. So, all right. Back in the old days of 1987, there was a fantastic movie called Wall Street. And the main character's name is Gordon Gekko and is played by the actor Michael Douglas. I'm going to just read an excerpt from it. Quote, "The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right. Greed works. Greed clarifies, cuts through, and captures the essence of the evolutionary spirit. Greed in all of its forms, greed for life, for money, for love, for knowledge, has marked the upward surge of mankind." End quote. There's more to the speech. It's a long one, but that little chunk right there I found to be super fascinating, really interesting. And I actually agree with a lot of that, because when you think about greed, I mean, usually it's pretty negative. When you call somebody greedy, you're not paying them a compliment, right? It's
right.
It's negative. But I agree with the way he positions it here. What I disagree with is the action that so many people take in their quest for some of these things at the expense of others. And I think that's
the problem, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
because when we have a negative connotation of being greedy, it comes from the idea that there's only so much to go around, and that if someone else has a lot or is trying to get a lot, that means there's going to be less for me, right?
exactly. That's a great way to look at it. And that's how a lot of people look at things. The pie is only so big. And if one person is, getting all the pieces, then there isn't anything left for me. And really, I mean, that's a mindset again, really, because there's really enough pie, for everyone, because everyone doesn't want the same thing. Everybody doesn't want the same amounts of the same thing. So that's a whole other podcast that we should actually tee up for the near future. But here's the thing. One of the things that I'm super greedy about this, and I've talked about this before, not on our podcast though, on a couple of others. And I was like, we really need to dive into this here on We're Talking Shift. One of the things that I'm super, super greedy about, and it does not compromise or come at the expense of anybody else, and I think it's something that everyone should be greedy about, and that is our health. I'm super greedy about having a massive abundance of optimal health. And I think what's great about having greed for that, to the drive to amass a lot of optimal health is that not only does it come at nobody else's expense, no one else is compromised by that greed and that drive and that hunger, but it's actually the opposite. Other people benefit from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
If I'm healthy, so as a mother, even though my kids are grown now, but let's just say I have young kids at home, like a lot of people do. If I'm healthy, if I have a partner, I am better equipped to do everything I need to do in that relationship and in the family and taking care of, my kids and whatever else I'm doing in life. I can do all of it better at my best. Right? If the standards are really high, and I'm super greedy about maintaining those standards for my health, then I'm going to be showing up as the best version of myself for the people around me, for the people I care about, for my coworkers, if I have coworkers, right?
Yeah, this makes me think of your client, Josh, who I had an opportunity to speak with about the work that you've done with him as a coach.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he said that stood out most to me was that, he's the dad in the house. He has a great family and a marriage. And he said, now that dad is happy, the whole house is happy. Now that dad is healthy, the whole house is healthy. And that he has kind of, set these new kind of goals for the family's health and wealth and thriving, and that it really has
Right.
just trickled on to everyone, and
It
really,
does.
online and kind of everyone. He inspired me even.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Josh is great and he's done amazing work. And that's such a great example. It has been a domino effect with the entire family. So again, if you are willing to consider being super greedy about your own health and maintaining high standards for it, for keeping or trying to up level your health in any way you can, everybody benefits from it. You can show up at your best. You can be your strongest, most energetic, most vibrant, person for the people around you. And you are not also becoming something like a burden on the system. I mean, our healthcare system is, do we need to go on about that? I mean, it's a disaster and there's a lot of pressure on it, obviously more than usual this past year, but the more healthy people there are, the less pressure there is on our healthcare system as well. I have been cultivating excellent health for a long time. It's just been my passion for my whole adult life. I was always an active young person, an active kid, and then I've just always maintained that, that drive. And as I've gotten older, it's ramped up for obvious reasons, because the last thing you want to do is start backsliding. You don't want to have this like artificial peak in your head of, oh, now I'm at this stage of my life, or I'm at this age and here's how my parents and my grandparents looked, and then it was all like it's starting to go downhill from there. Like, no. So the passion has actually keeps ramping up to make sure that my momentum doesn't start going that, the wrong way. We don't want to start backsliding, deteriorating, as
Yeah,
much as we can help it.
there's that makeup commercial with the very mature model, and she says, they say at a certain age you just stop caring about the way you look. And she's like, I don't know what age that is. But buy this great face cream or whatever it is.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I suppose it's an individual thing, but who doesn't want to look and feel their best no matter how old they are?
yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, that's, everybody wants that, and that's what we're going to talk about. But are they greedy enough to really put a lot of focus and effort around it? That's where, wanting something, it's easy to want stuff and everybody can want things, right? But I think like for me, two main driving reasons. I want to feel good in my body, don't we all? But I want to feel good in it until I die. I don't want to just feel good in it, for the first half and then just, drag it along. I want to feel really good in it until I die. So that's a big motivating factor right there. And then I really want to be in control of my aging process. I want to be managing that. I want to be in control of it so that I can prevent illness and disease, if we are doing our utmost to manage the whole process, then we give ourselves a much better chance of not succumbing to illness and disease. So those are the driving motivations. And I invite people to think about, I mean, why do you want to be healthy?
Okay, well, since we're being greedy, we might as well be vain, right?
Yeah.
My number one goal or motivation for being healthy is to look good.
Yay.
To be skinny, to have, clear glowing skin, and because when I feel like I look good, I feel good. And I don't know how great that makes me sound, but that's the truth, Loree.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with that truth. I want to look good too. I think most people want to look their best, and that's what that is different for everyone. And I think that that's a great reason. I think that and you don't think about this when you're younger, but you start thinking about this when you're older. You've got to then start thinking about some other more compelling reasons that you want to be healthy when maybe your desire or your willpower or your energy doesn't keep you motivated enough to maintain the standards of beauty that you want. So at some point when things start to shift a little bit, or when you start running out of time, maybe at some point you decide you're going to have a family and your priorities are going to shift, and things change, right? You're super young right now. So when I was your age, that was probably my only reason too. I want to look hot. I want to look good. Swimsuit, season is coming. I want to be able to keep up with my kids, right? And then though, as you go on and as you evolve, sometimes things come up that cause you to have even a more compelling reason to maintain your health than just the outer package. Make sense?
Yeah, maybe my inner package is too connected to my outer package, because I'm really like, but everything I think of as far as what I eat, working out, and there is some of my ethics tied into that. I'm vegan, because I believe in living cruelty free and those kinds of things. But really beyond that, I'm like, well, if I care about looking good, then I eat healthy, then I am healthy, then it's all good.
Yeah, and that's
Speak to me,
working for
Loree.
you. That's working for you. But you know what? There are a lot of people that feel the exact same way, but they are actually not vegan, and they're not working out, and they're not eating healthy. And you can get away with that for a while when you're young, but it will catch up with you down the road. So right now, the things that you're doing are supporting your goals to look good and beautiful and healthy and, all the things. You happen to be living a lifestyle that's supporting that really well, but there are so many people that are not. And you can get away with a lot when you're young. And then at some point, the tide starts to change a bit. But I think very few people are actively, like conscientiously and actively managing their whole aging process. And when you're not doing that, you become at the mercy of aging as opposed to being the master of it. So, for example, I have a very, very specific intention, and I have a very specific strategy, and most people don't. And I'm super, as I said, super greedy about it, and most people aren't. I think that you have to remember that aging it's literally a living process, right? And it's continually happening in real time, and it's netting you results. The results that we experience are direct outcomes of these living processes, the ones that we choose, how we're living. And most people, they're just not consciously and proactively managing that. So they're kind of asleep at the wheel. It's easy to just, especially in your youth, to just assume that you're always going to feel and look like that for a long, long time. But my observation is, especially once people start to get a little bit, more into their closer to 40, once you get through those 30s and all of a sudden 40 seems to be a trigger number for a lot of people and they start freaking out a little bit. But I think that a lot of people are literally running to their graves and they don't even know it
Mhm.
by the lifestyle choices that they're making.
And they're making a pit stop at the drive-through at fast food on the way, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So, I think that, when you make choices like that, that you're not treating your body with respect, you're not treating it healthy, you're not feeding it the right things most of the time, you're not moving it, you're really just taking advantage of it. And it's going to work. It's going to work literally its ass off for you for a long time until it doesn't. And so I think that when you're living in such a way that you're not conscientiously managing that process really well, then the choices that you make ensure that you're going to have a bumpy ride, and it's going to get bumpier as you get older, right? Um, I think that it's important to realize that you have momentum going, and that momentum is going to take you down a predictable path. So right now you have momentum going, but you are eating really healthy. You're moving, you're treating your body really well. So your momentum is probably going to be working in your favor as long as you maintain that lifestyle.
That's so true. And this kind of speaks to something else that you talked about in your How to Get Through the Holidays episode of not, getting too far off track out of our diet and health routines and working out and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And I really
Yeah.
took that to heart and ate whatever the heck I wanted pretty much for the last month or so, but also continued working out instead of, going full bore sloth on the couch. So when you're talking about momentum, what speaks to me is that I know if my momentum is halted, if I'm not doing anything, it's just that much harder to get going again. So
Right.
because I didn't go into complete sloth mode and was still working out, it's a little easier for me to now go back to having a salad for lunch. I don't have to also get up at 6 a.m. and work out for 3 hours, to make up for everything I've not worked out for the last few weeks. So this momentum thing, it's you're really speaking to me here, Loree. It's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can when you have periods of time like that where maybe you have an extra workload that's just going to take you out of your routine, or holidays come, where you take a vacation, if you can try not to get completely 100% off of your routine, it is easier to build the momentum back up again. But man, when you ditch the whole thing altogether for a long period of time, it is so hard to get back into it. We did pretty well over holidays, although we still, after like maybe a week of, eating out and eating things that we don't normally eat, Eric and I were both like, oh my God, all I want is salad. All I want is salad. We were just like craving salads all day, every day. I couldn't wait to get to the store to buy a ton of fresh salad greens so we could just make, and that's all we had for quite a few nights in a row, was just gigantic salads, because we felt like our bodies just needed to, kind of get back to what it was used to, and feel good with it. I mean, the other stuff, it's not like we had a bunch of bad stuff, but just different things, or things that we know don't make us feel like we're, you know, at our best.
So our body is also essentially kind of telling us, right, that
Sure.
it's time to ramp it up in the
Yeah.
being careful of the aging process.
Yeah, it has a language and it will talk to you. All you have to do is listen, right? Your body will communicate with you. Everybody knows when you feel great and when you don't. So, anyway, but there are a few where health and aging is conserved. There's a few common attitudes or beliefs that a lot of people have. I mean, there's a lot, but I'm going to name a couple, about three of them here real quick. Just because I think it's just for people to be aware of. So there's one set of beliefs or attitude where people assume that aging and disease is natural, and that once you've rounded the corner of maybe 45 or 50, whatever that like kind of like midline is in your own brain, they think it's natural that around that time, it's pretty much all downhill from there. and they accept it. They accept that that's the way it is, and that they'll probably live to be the same age as their parents or grandparents. And, because of genetics, they'll probably struggle with the same health issues. So by their assumption and their acceptance, they actually create the very same scenario that they've seen played out before them. They create it. So there's actually an unofficial plan there, and that is to just follow tradition. So that's one set of beliefs or an attitude, right?
It's
There's
almost
really
like manifesting bad health or manifesting disease in a shorter life.
right, because you just assume this is the way it has to be because that's the way you've seen it happen around you, and then you accept it. So you have basically an unofficial plan to follow tradition. Then there's another attitude, you could say, where people aren't really giving it much thought at all. They're just kind of, tripping through life without any specific vision about how old they want to live to be and how they want to show up at that age. So it just sort of unfolds according to their lifestyle choices and their subconscious beliefs about aging. So their unofficial plan is pretty much just let the chips fall where they may.
Scary.
Well, whatever. Cross that bridge when I get to it, kind of thing, right? So then there's another attitude or belief would be people that do have a vision of what their, shall we say, golden years, senior years, older years, retired years, whatever you want to call them, when you become over to the elderly side of the spectrum. So those people maybe envision like retiring, with a healthy lifestyle, because maybe they're doing okay now, and they maybe dream of the leisure of it and hanging out with their kids and grandkids, and maybe they're golfing and the usual retirement kind of thing. So they have a vision, but not necessarily a strategic action plan that they're implementing that can give them the best chance at realizing their vision and their dream. So they've started out maybe
We
with a
plan
vision.
for that like financial future and for all the other stuff that you said to make sure, that we can afford the golf membership and that we have the kids to have the grandkids and all that stuff. But this is really the missing piece, isn't it?
Right. So then you've got to have then the strategic action plan to make sure that you can achieve and realize those things. All right. So basically, those are just a few common attitudes. I'm sure there are many others. And then there's just stuff that happens unexpectedly that's out of your control. I'm talking about the things that are under our control. Obviously, there are things that befall people that just came out of nowhere, or they have accidents or whatever. But the things that we can manage and control is what we're talking about here. And so when you don't have that strategic action plan, the result is that we have people showing up to the years in their lives where they are now they're at their most experienced, they're at their wisest, and they're showing up diseased and disillusioned and disappointed, because in most cases they didn't get greedy enough about their health early enough in their lives to control the condition of their health as they aged. So this is about getting greedy and getting a plan so that you can manage that. And the thing is, it's hard to really do that when you're younger, because it's easy to just already be healthy and fit and vibrant and energetic. So you're kind of like, what's the rush? But a lot of people should be, most of America is not healthy right now. We have 70% of our population that is overweight, and that includes a lot of our youth too. So you're an exception, but there are tons of young people that are already experiencing so many health issues because it's not being managed. Their health is not being managed properly starting from a young age. So anyway, the thing is, in order to get desirable results, you need a plan. You need a process that is designed to keep you moving in the direction that you want to go, because we all want to move in a direction as we get older that ensures, right, that we're going to not be suffering. Nobody wants to get Alzheimer's. Nobody wants to have, heart disease. Nobody wants to have cancer. So there's got to be a plan to, hopefully do everything you can do to prevent those things. Without a plan and an active approach, things just happen by default, or they happen haphazardly. And then you typically don't get the outcome that you were dreaming about, or the outcome that you were subconsciously hoping for, but not really planning for. So usually when it comes to aging, it's the opposite.
Well, yeah, and like when you say, no one wants cancer, no one wants heart disease, it's like, well, yeah, of course I don't. But what am I doing to prevent those things? Oh my gosh, nothing.
Right, right, right. Because most of our diseases are preventable. Most of the diseases and illnesses that befall people in America anyway are preventable. Not all, but most. They're lifestyle choices.
Yeah, it's like I
So
don't want someone to break into my house either, so I lock the door. Simple
yes,
stuff. We
that
got to
is a
take
great
action.
that's a great analogy. Exactly. So I think so here's where we need to get down to business. I think there's a place for greed. I think we just need to redirect it, right? I think we need to get really greedy about our desire to live long, quality lives, because it doesn't do any good to live a long life if you're suffering, if it's not a quality life, right? So you want a long life, but you want a quality life, however long it is. And so I think we need to direct our greed toward the business of building our own health. Health is the ultimate wealth, after all, right? Creating good health is very similar to creating a good business. And so, basically, fundamentally, you have the what and the why and the how of it. Those are just some fundamental things. So, for example, what's the goal? For example, for a business, you may be, what's the product or the service or the investment? And for health, it would be, what do you consider good health? If it were a product, if your health were a product, what would it look like? And how does it serve you? How does it bring value into your life? So again, we're back to, as we talk about frequently on this show, asking yourself quality questions. So if you were to look at your health like a business, those would be quality questions. I mean, that's what you would ask yourself if you're going to be a new business owner, an entrepreneur. Well, what is my product? What's my service? What's my investment? How will it serve people? You should be asking the same things about your own health. What does it look like? How does it serve me? How does it bring value into my life? Then we can go to the why of it. And we touched on this a little bit earlier when we first started chatting. So a business is, a why could be, why is it important to you to offer this product or service? Why will people want it? And then the same question for your health. Why do you desire good health? What are your compelling reasons? Why is it important to you to have it? So you are stated right now at this point in your life, well, because you want to feel good, you want to look good, you have career professional desires, and that's probably factors in. There's things you want to do, and it's just important to you, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's great.
Yeah, trust me, I've done a lot of soul searching as to whether it's okay to be this concerned with how I look, and I've learned that it is okay to an extent.
It's okay. It's okay, Christy. I'm gonna.
Thank you.
There's nothing wrong with wanting to look and feel your best at all. Everyone loves beauty, and everyone has their own idea of what that is. So making
Right. And
yourself,
it's not like I'm putting my, ideas of what's beautiful or what is healthy on someone else. I would
right,
never look at someone else and go, oh, they need to do my workout. They need to eat vegan like I do. And yet
right.
I guess I'm a little bit harder on myself. I would be very quick to tell myself what I need to do. But, I'm not putting these ideals on anybody else ever by any means.
Right. There are standards that you've set for yourself. Exactly. So, of course, then you have the how of it. So for a business, like, okay, how do you have any processes and procedures in place? Do you have a strategy and goals? How are you going to make this happen? And so it's the same for your health. Do you have clearly defined goals? Do you have processes? Do you have a strategy in place for attaining and maintaining optimal health? You have to have a plan, a vision, and a strategy, right? So, this is really about taking responsibility for managing your health so that as you age, it's in the healthiest possible way. And the obvious goal is to have a wealth of good health. I think that sounds amazing personally. I would that can you see why I'm so greedy about that? Why that's a healthy form of greed?
Yes. So, do you mean like, what do you mean?
Like, well, here's the thing. To have probably the best way to put it is like this. Um, Even if you make yourself a professional success and you have a big fat bank account and you have pretty much, the life that you desire, your life will still suck really bad if you are sick and battling disease. So as you get older and you have success in other areas, or you have, you're happy with things in other areas, you have wealth in other areas, but not in your health, everything else, your life still sucks. You could be the wealthiest person on the planet and have everything you could possibly need. The world is your oyster. And if you're sick and you have a disease, or you're getting Alzheimer's and you're forgetting who you are and who your family is, or, you've got heart disease and you're on your, third open heart surgery, life's not good.
I see what you mean now. I was thinking like, do you mean if we're so healthy, we can like if we eat really well 6 days out of the week, then we can have a cheat day? But that's totally not what you're talking about. I'm just really
Right.
trying to get permission to
Right.
have a cheat day, Loree. So
Yeah.
just don't mind me.
I grant thee permission, my dear. Please have a cheat day. It is not about extremes. This is, what I'm talking. We're talking about the bigger picture here. Yes, please enjoy. What's your favorite cheat thing?
Oh, I make a mean vegan breakfast burrito and always
That's your
chocolate chip
cheat
cookies.
thing. That's the cheat, a vegan breakfast burrito.
Cheese, sausage, egg, tortilla. There's a lot of processed, not good for you
Oh,
stuff going on in
oh,
there. Trust me.
okay, okay. But I
There
think
is such a thing as vegan junk food, and I could go on a whole hour
that's
about
true.
it.
That's true. I agree with that. I've looked at a lot of ingredient lists on vegan packages and went, "Whoa, I wouldn't touch that." So you're right.
I
Okay.
know.
Exactly. I thought you were going to say something, like a, a brownie or a piece of cake or chocolate, whatever. I thought you were going to say it's like one of the usual suspects. I didn't expect a vegan omelet to pop up.
I mean, it's always followed up with the chocolate chip cookies, of course.
Okay, there we have it. There.
I mean, vegan ice cream, Loree.
Mm,
We got me
mm,
started now. Today might be the cheat day.
if you're going to have ice cream, I'm all about just get a really good quality real ice cream, because I don't know, some of the fake ones, they just don't cut it for me. They just don't cut it.
Mm.
And there are some nasty ingredients in some of those too. I'm just saying.
Well, that's true. Ice cream is not healthy, and neither are burgers, no matter if they're, I mean, if they're meat free or not.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. So, okay, let's talk about some tips um, for managing this beast of a process we call aging. Um, I kind of have boiled this down into 4 basic steps. Of course, each step has, mini steps underneath them, but I'm just going to share some of the things that I think can give people a handle who are new to this, or who feel like, okay, I'm at a point in my life where I really need to get serious about what's going on with my health here. So maybe this will be a good jumping off point for people. And this is what I do. Start with the end in mind. So the thing is, anything that we want to achieve or realize, it begins with an idea, right? You got to conceive of what that is and what that idea is meant to achieve. So in other words, we're back to what is the goal? What does it look like? And what is it intended to accomplish? All right. So back to starting with the end in mind, I think pick your age. Pick the age you want to live to be.
Oh,
Most people aren't.
interesting.
Yeah, most people aren't thinking about that. They're just tripping along, hoping for the best, I guess. I don't know. But I picked a number a long time ago. I picked my number, and my idea, my goal is to live to the age of 112. That's the number that just came into my head.
You're not even like, you're barely even halfway there, Loree. Man, you got a lot of time left if you're
I
going to
know.
112.
Exactly. I'm not quite halfway there. So I'm like,
I love that.
if I pick 112, that means, okay, I got a long way to go. So I need to manage things really, really well, because obviously I want to show up at 112 a certain way. Otherwise, what's the point? Right? So
Loree, if anyone is still going to be hot at age 112, it will be you.
uh, fingers crossed. All right.
I know that's not your motive, but it will be true, I'm sure.
No, thank you. Thank you. I just want to have my wits about me. Right. So anyway, so then, okay, so pick your age. That's why I invite everybody to pick the age that you want to live to be, but pick an age that you truly believe is possible for you. If you don't believe 112 is really possible for you, if it's just like a pipe dream, then don't pick that number. Pick a number that you feel like you can feel good about, that you feel like that's actually possible for me. I think I could hit that number. So everyone should pick the number that is comfortable, that they feel is possible for them. I just, like, my grandmothers on both sides lived into their late 90s.
Oh, wow.
And and those were my grandmothers. So now here, 2 generations later, we have so much more knowledge and technology and wisdom about how to be healthy. I'm thinking, okay, if they could do it with what was going on in their generation, I have no excuse for not being able to exceed that. Right. Two
Right.
generations.
And because they were maybe a little greedy about their health, look at what you and all your, I don't know, cousins and all your family members got to have them around for that
Mhm.
long, and got to get, their wisdom and
Yes.
spend time with them and have memories with them. Because they were greedy, they essentially were not greedy.
Right, right. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think that either one of them, within their mindsets, were thinking about, "Oh, I'm going to live to be 98," and they just got there. So they just genetically and lifestyle and whatever, they managed to get there without really even having a strategic plan. They were just doing life. So I really don't have any excuse to not at least get there and really exceed that. So you got to think about, okay, so what does 112 or whatever your number is, what does that look like? What is it intended to accomplish? So, it looks like what you want to, obviously you want to be physically fit. You want to have all of your wits about you. You want to be mentally sound. You want to have energy and vitality. You want to be capable of doing the things that you envision yourself doing at that age. So that's the starting point. And then you have to ask yourself why. Back to the why. Why do I want to live to be that age? Why is it important to me, for example, to show up at 112 in the way that I envision? I think, for me, and everyone's going to have their own reasons, but a lot of it is what you just said. How awesome to be able to enjoy, the family and the family that's yet to come. And and there's a lot I want to do. I just feel like, there's never enough time. I'm like, I'm going to need that time to do all the stuff on my bucket list and all the things I want to do, personally, professionally. There's a lot there. So I'm like, I'm going to need, another 60 plus years to get all this stuff done. So, but my why is also to show up, to be healthy and fit, is also because I don't want to age in such a way that I've made choices that now make me a less vital person or a burden to my family. I don't
Yeah,
want
I know
to.
that's a big concern for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah, and nobody wants that, but it happens. Um, So part of my why is, yeah, I want to look as good as I can. I want to, I have high standards and I want to live up to those, but I want to have energy and I want to have my brain functioning at top capacity. Right. So, and I want to be able to enjoy and participate in my family's life and whatever else I want to participate in. So I'm going to have to manage my health really well in order to achieve those things. So those are my whys.
You could be a great great grandma or
Maybe.
even more at 112. That's pretty cool.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible. I really want to be the wise tribal elder, Christy, and I'm already kind of there.
You are, yes, Loree, you
Maybe not
already
the
are there.
Maybe not the super wise part, but the tribal elder. Yeah, I think I could wear that crown. So,
a lot of people look to you. You're definitely in the middle of the circle around the fire.
I'm honored. I'm honored. So, anyway, so then we go on to the next part of like the business. We look at the how. So, how is that going to happen? How am I going to make sure I achieve those things, or how am I going to give it my best shot? Right. At least. So there's some things you got to start doing, obviously, and there's some things you got to stop doing. So the starts, and we're not going to go into the super details of these because most people already know them and we have talked about them before. But one of the things that we need to do is look at our lifestyle, okay, and what we're doing that is going to sabotage that vision. What direction is our momentum taking us? So clearly you got to look at what you're eating. Duh. We all know that. Everyone knows it. We've talked about different aspects of that on the show, and we will continue to. But clearly, you have to eat well. You have to feed your body the things that it needs to thrive and to make sure that it is giving you the energy that you want and the brain power that you want. So, low sugar, low refined carbs, no processed food, eliminate that. Lower meat consumption, higher plant food consumption. Everyone knows this. Just do it. Just do it. If you care about managing your aging process and there's a certain way you want to show up at whatever your number is, do those things. All right. You got to move. We all know that our body is not meant to be sedentary. If you get even a brand new sports car, and it is a high-powered, beautiful thing, and you go park it out in a cornfield, and it goes nowhere for even a little while, not to mention a year or two or a decade, what do you think is going to happen to it?
It's not going to run.
It's not going
to take us anywhere.
It's going to start to
look that great either after sitting around for a year in the cornfield.
Right. It's not going to look good. Right. It's going to have, mice and crickets and all kind of critters that have moved in, which we would call disease in our bodies. Right. And entropy sets in, the breakdown sets in. So if it's not used, it will start to disintegrate, devolve, and, basically no longer function the way it was designed to function. So you have to move. You have to move, and it doesn't have to be extreme, but you've got to move. Your body is the vehicle for your soul. So it's designed to move, and biologically your muscles are going to, atrophy when it's not exercised. So if you want to be moving when you're 60, 70, 80, 90, 112, you must move. Even if it's just 15 or 20 minutes a day, it's better than nothing. You got to move. Okay. Here's the other thing. You have to be the generator of your energy. You have to mind your body and not let your body mind you. And the best way I can describe this is when you're young, you just do stuff. You don't think about it. Your body just goes where your mind tells it to go. You have an idea of what you're going to do. You're going to go out and play. You're going to go out and ride your bike. You're going to go out and swim. You're going to go out and run around. You're going to do whatever it is physically you're going to do. You just do it. You don't think about it. You don't have to have a negotiation with your mind about it, right? You just do it. But somehow along the way, things start to shift, right? And if we let ourselves kind of slip into that sedentary lifestyle, we start to lose that spark that initiates that energy that generates, right? And our body then starts telling us what we're going to do, right? So or not do. So you might be sitting there, in your mind going, yes, I'm going to get on the treadmill tomorrow. I'm going to start that new Peloton I got for Christmas, or I'm going to go, I'm going to go even just for walk the dog along the, whatever it is. And then your body's like, I don't think so. I don't think we'll do that today. And then you go, okay, yeah, I don't feel like it. So you see how somehow it flips the script on us. And
Yeah, and
so,
that's so like passive and giving up control and just really kind of relinquishing to circumstances. And who wants to live like that?
yeah, so we just somehow, we're the boss when we're young. It's just natural, and our body just goes where and does what we tell it it's going to do. And then at some point things change and it starts calling the shots and we start listening. So we lose control, and then your body has become your mind, basically. Yeah, so we have to be the boss of our body. We have to remember who's in charge, our mind. So we got to mind our body, not the other way around. Be the generator of your energy, be the generator of your body. And if your body's like, I don't really feel like going out for a walk around the block with Cujo here, you got to be like, no, we're going.
Mm-hmm.
We're going. And
Right.
you
And
just
if
do it.
you're a little sore or something in your body, you might take that opportunity for your mind to go, oh, my body's telling me not to work out today. No, your body's just telling you to do something different than you did yesterday, right?
Yeah. Your body's saying, I'm a little sore. That's awesome, because I really needed to get off my ass. Maybe give me just a short break and let's hit it again. So, yeah, discerning the language is important, right? Okay, stop. Here's what we need to stop doing. We need to stop holding on to grudges. And I'll tell you how this fits in. Grudges and resentment. There is a best-selling book, before your time, Christy, written by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. It's brilliant, and it's still a very popular read today. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics. And in it, Dr. Maltz says this, I'm going to quote this because I think it perfectly talks about why you have to stop holding on to grudges and resentment and lack of forgiveness, which we talked actually about a little bit, and I think in the last episode too, lack of forgiveness, right? But Dr. Maltz says, as long as you harbor resentment, it is literally impossible for you to picture yourself as a self-reliant, independent, self-determining person who is the captain of his soul, the master of his fate. So, resentment and lack of forgiveness is inconsistent with creative goal striving. If you want to be somebody that is the master of his fate and the captain of his soul, you can't do that if you are stuck, if you are imprisoned by resentments and grudges and lack of forgiveness, because you've chained yourself to something that's anchoring you down and holding you in a negative place. It
And
keeps you from being independent.
I'm wondering, does that apply? Do you mean as well like resentment against ourselves? Like we've tried to do a diet before and we've failed, or oh, I've gotten so atrocious that I don't want to leave the house anyway. So I'll just, keep resenting myself and not trying to do any better. Is there a layer of that to it as well?
I think absolutely. I think that's a good point to bring up too, because usually we're thinking about, these in the context of other people, how we feel about other people. But it totally matters about if you're feeling guilty and you're not forgiving yourself for something, or you're resentful that you haven't been able to achieve something. It's the same thing, because now you are you've got a mindset of that's negative, that makes you feel less worthy, that maybe you don't even deserve to try to have something better for yourself, because perhaps you've done something, you've failed before at something, or it's just whatever the reason is, or you feel guilty about something, so you haven't let yourself off the hook. So if you have that about yourself, then it's important that you start learning. Sometimes it takes a process of inches, and then weeks, and then months and years. And sometimes people are able to let go more quickly, but you you want to learn to forgive yourself, and to not resent yourself for your efforts or lack of efforts, or behavior that you feel guilty about. Whatever it is, you got to let it go. You look back at it not to punish yourself. You look back to learn. You learn, and then you look forward. You take the lesson and you move forward, and you let it go. So you don't look back to wallow in shit. Don't do that. And that's what happens a lot of times is people look back, they start dwelling on whatever it is that they're feeling resentful, or you know, um, uh, holding a grudge about, and they start dwelling and living there, and they keep that emotion alive, and nothing good comes of it, right? You just become a prisoner of the past. So we look back to learn something from it about ourselves or someone else or all of the above. And then you take that nugget that can serve you better, can serve you well moving forward, that you let it go.
That's really powerful.
Great. Also, stop disrespecting your body by mistreating it. Again, as Maxwell Maltz said, and I said earlier, it is the vehicle for the soul. I mean, it's here, to serve you, to do what you came here to do. So if you want it to do that well, you can't disrespect it. You can a little now and then, but for the most part, you got to treat it well, right? You got to treat it well. It's only going to take so much. At some point, it's going to say, not going to do that anymore. I'm going to put you down. So respect for our bodies. Stop chronic stressing. And that's a hard one for a lot of people, especially in the last, year. A lot of stress, understandably. Stress releases cortisol, and cortisol, and other stress hormones, when you have an overexposure of those things, it disrupts so many of our body's processes. It taxes it greatly. It knocks our bodies out of balance. So when we continually tax our body in this manner by chronic stressing, it contributes massively to aging and health issues. So if you haven't already found a way to manage your stress, meditate, pray, do something physical. That's great. That's great for managing stress, is doing something physical. There's a lot of ways, watch funny movies, whatever, but find your way. There's so many things that you can do to manage your stress, and everybody just has to find the thing that works for them. But it will contribute greatly to your aging process and health issues if you don't get a handle on it.
Yeah, and I like that idea. You're kind of killing two birds with one stone. If you're working out, you're doing something for your mental and physical health.
Totally. I don't know about you, but when I am able to work out, even if I can't get to a gym or do something more aggressive, like, weight training, but even just walking or a little jog or doing some yoga, anything like that, always for me, especially if there was anything I was feeling stressed about, it always relieves it. It's like magic. It relieves it. Not only does it relieve it, but it gets my mindset up above it. So you can rise above it. You can see things from a new perspective. You can see maybe different solutions if it was a problem you were working on, or a different perspective if it was a mindset, an attitude you were stuck in. So it helps on so many levels besides just the physical part.
Yeah, feels good.
It does feel good. Your body will love you for it. Okay, and then the other thing we can do is visualize it. You have to see it in your mind. You want to visualize what you will look like and feel like physically and emotionally, and what you'll be doing at the age that you pick. So, whatever your magic number is that you're going for, that number is to remind you that, there's going to come a time when you're going. There's going to come a time. So, this number helps you be mindful of that. It helps you be mindful of the quality of your life that you're living right now while you're moving toward the number. So it gives you a direction. It gives you all so many good things to encourage you to manage what the things you are focusing on now, right? So when we visualize, by the way, there is tons of powerful research and hard science proving the effectiveness of creative visualization. Everybody knows probably about it. You may not believe it, but it's out there. I mean, all of pretty much top athletes, right? People that are competing, top successful business people, most of them will tell you that they are doing some form of meditation and or visualizing, like daily. It's a very powerful tool and it works. And so we talked a little bit about it when we talked about vision boards a couple of episodes ago, right? So really just a few quick points about it is, having a strong desire to create whatever you visualize. So make sure that what you're going to focus on and see it, create a picture, a movie in your mind about it. Make sure that you have a really strong desire for it, that you're not just picking something because you think you should, right? And then you have to have the belief that it's possible for you. You have to be able to see yourself doing it and being it, seeing it as it's almost like you're living it now, like it's already done. And then you want to feel the emotions of what you want as you visualize. So desire, belief, seeing it, and feeling it. Those are the key elements of having any kind of creative visualization technique. It's also helpful if you want to write about it. A lot of people like to write, to journal, vision board, all of those things help you imagine it. So those are all very helpful and they're very powerful, and they will go a long way to contributing to helping you manage your aging process.
Yeah, and there's nothing holding you back with visualization. You don't need a treadmill. You don't need a subscription to a workout app. You don't need 20 minutes to sit and meditate, or, some skill that you got from a shaman. You can literally just close your eyes and envision it in your mind.
You can. And you don't even have to close your eyes if you're driving. You can still think about it, right? Don't close your
Good
eyes if
point.
you're driving. Keep them open, but you can still think about it. You can still think about scenarios. You can think about, ooh, when I'm, 75 or when I'm 80, I'm going to be doing this and I'm going to feel like that. You can still play it out like you're watching a movie in your mind, even while you're doing something, like driving or sitting in a really boring meeting and you're not listening anyway. So go somewhere in your mind that is going to serve you really well and help you manage your process.
Yeah, it's fun.
Good?
And maybe give ourselves a little permission to really think big when we do that. Why hold
Absolutely.
yourself back?
No limits. Be unlimited. Yes. Think big as long as it feels like it's possible for you. But yeah, don't be afraid. We're unlimited beings. Go for it.
I love that.
112.
Yes.
So, so are you going to think about that, about your number?
I am, because as you said it, I'm realizing that I kind of have always just thought about not being any older than like early 90s. But when
Mm-hmm.
you say it, it's like, but why not?
Mm-hmm.
I've always heard that the people who live, like the oldest person in the world, right, was like 112 or something. I've always heard that and thought, oh, that would be really cool. And my grandparents as well lived to be quite old, but why not aim big? Aim
Why not?
high. Why cut myself off at 92 when I could live till 112 if I play my cards
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. So if you're going to live till 112 and I still want to be around when you get there, that means I'm going to have to up my number a lot. I'm going to have to give that some thought.
Oh man, if you live to be that age, think of just all the stuff you could do. The world would be even more your oyster because you'd be one of the oldest people living and you'd have so much wisdom, you know, and you could probably market
Maybe.
yourself as the oldest person alive.
I mean, there's always that, right? So
There's a
yeah,
lot of branding involved there. I'm just saying.
I like it. I like it. Who knows? We could have communities living on Mars by then, you know, I mean, anything. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. I don't know if I want to go there, but I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind knowing that it's
Watching other
possible.
people. Yeah.
Oh, this has been fun. So just as we wrap it up, you guys, just remember we have to stay cognizant of the fact that we always have momentum going, and momentum is awesome as long as it's moving you in the right direction. So, oh yes, what does being a sloth have to do with greed? Almost forgot. Actually, nothing. Nothing. It's the polar opposite. But
Bring
there
us full
is
circle, Loree.
right. It's just nothing. But there is a time and a place for both, right? So be a sloth when you need to promote harmony, either in your own mind or in the environment and with other people. Be a sloth. That's what sloths are good at. They promote harmony. That's a big plus. Um, if you need to be mindful of all that you have to be grateful for, that would be the time you're going to be a sloth. You're just going to be in the present. You're going to maybe hang from a tree or swing on a swing, and you're just going to like chill and be grateful. Those are good reasons to be a sloth. But be greedy about amassing great health, because health is the ultimate wealth. So be greedy about getting that kind of wealth going in your mind. Thank you all for hanging out with Christy and I today. This was fun. Thanks, Christy. I enjoyed this.
It was fun and it's just so positive. Loree, you make things seem so simple and undaunting. You know, every time we sit down and talk about, you know, whether it's setting resolutions instead of resolutions or, you know, maintaining our health, it always speaks to me and in a way that I remember, you know, and that's just so important. You just make it easy, Loree.
Well, thank you. I like to make things easy. I think we have a tendency to overcomplicate things. So I like to just kind of get down to the nuts and bolts of it. All right, everyone. If you would like some help making a plan for your own aging process or getting unstuck or up-leveling any aspect of your life, you know you can just head on over to LoreeBischoff.com and you will find out what private coaching with me is all about there. You will also be able to find out how to connect with me on all of the social media platforms there. So go do that, because I would love to connect with you and hear from you on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, wherever you are. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. That makes us feel very, very good when we see those numbers going up. We know more people are seeing the show. And hey, spread the good shift around. Don't be greedy and keep it to yourself. That's when we don't want to be greedy. We want to spread it around so everyone else can hear what's going on here. Give us a 5-star rating review too, please. Thank you very much. I'm going to thank you in advance. I'm affirming it. 5-star reviews pouring in, Christy, as we speak. But those reviews, you guys, help inspire other people to listen to all of the good shift being shared here. So until next week, stay feisty, my friends. Stay super healthy. Stay greedy about it. And go make some epic shift happen in your lives. And that goes for you too, Mr. Gary Vee.